All right, hi everyone, this is PK here, and I'm with Sree here, who is a client of the Property Investment Accelerator. He lives over in WA in Perth, and he's just bought a really good property in Perth itself in WA, having done the Property Investment Accelerator. So I thought I'd get him on, and I'm very grateful that he's been gracious enough to make time. Just to share his experiences, not only of doing the Property Investment Accelerator, but also going from a place where he was already a property investor, but perhaps wasn't as educated as he wanted to be, didn't make the best decisions as they could have been, to now becoming a more advanced investor, learning the data, learning everything, and having just bought a property that is positive cash flow, high growth area. I'll let Sree talk about the details. But hopefully this interview, it actually adds value to everyone, all of you who are watching. And if it does, please, like it, please love it, please subscribe. And if you have any questions at all, you can leave them in the comments below, and I'm more than welcome. I'm more than willing, to actually just jump in those comments and answer your questions as well. So yeah, without sort of going on, I just want to welcome you, Sree, and say thank you for making the time for this.
Hello, hi everyone, and hi PK.
So yeah, look, why don't you, if you like, why don't you just share your property background? I think you signed up to the Property Investment Accelerator late last year. Just share perhaps with everyone your kind of mindset before the course, what you knew about property before the course, your journey before the course, and like why you even chose to do the Property Investment Accelerator, given you were already an investor.
Okay, yep, I'll try to explain very in simple terms. I wouldn't call myself an investor or yet, or maybe 1 month before I wouldn't call myself an investor. I have 2 properties, but one we bought it to move in. So a bit about myself, a bit about the property journey. Bought my first property where I'm living now in WA back in 2014. Didn't know anything much about property, could borrow a bit of money, and thought, while I'm renting, I will get my own place to live. So went with a basic assumption, go for a property with a big land and near to the school and highway, close to work. That was it. I was a bachelor back then and didn't really, any of the points to consider now, which I'm aware of now after doing the course, was not part of my decision making. And then I saw Perth going downhill. Probably that property, I bought it on key start, so with minimal deposit. As I said, I was a bachelor, had a bit of cash, or probably very little amount of cash, and got into the property ladder. That's what everyone said: get in quick, better than renting. And I could see it going down. It was bought at 350K back in 2014, 3x1, 700 square meter, usual kind of house in 20-25 kilometers away from the city. And I saw it going down quite a bit. It would have valued around 260 by 2017. So, and I was stuck with Keystart for a while. Then I started doing renovations. I do a fair bit, or did a fair bit, had to learn doing a fair bit because we were not able to move out. In the meantime, I got married, had kids, and my parents were moving in as well. And it was a 3x1, nothing was happening. And then we decided we need to move out of here. Then I started reading about it by myself, and did I purchase another property in 2019, a bit better suburb, big school, better school, and property was at rock bottom here, I thought, and I bought it. And we are moving to that property in next month, actually. We bought it in 2019, but didn't move there yet. Then, but that you could call that as an investment, but it is, as I said, that's why I won't consider it as an investment, because it was somewhere I wanted to move and settle eventually. But then me and my wife started talking about how about we do a proper investment in property. And then I found about PK's course. So there's a lot of reading online, and I found about PK's course. I believe it was through a Facebook group. I saw this group, the Property Mastery, the Facebook page. What is it called? The full name, PK?
Australian Property Investment Mastery for Beginners.
Yeah, for beginners, that's the one. And I saw this guy called PK coming in and putting comments in every now and then. I went into his page and found out, oh, he runs the page. Then I found about the course and then had a chat with PK. And there was few points that you're making in the group that made kind of sense, because I had went through that journey where I bought a property and it went down by 100. And after having a chat, I think we had a chat for around 1.5, 2 months. And I think you asked me once, I think I was asking many questions, like I normally do, with especially need to pay a bit of money to get into the course. And I think you asked me, I don't know whether you remember, do you think this is all just just a fluke? Yeah, and I said, I don't think so, but I need more convincing stories to find out. And you gave me Bobby's number. That was one contact I had. I had a chat with Bobby. There was more information coming from that page. So then I made a decision to go ahead after being convinced that it'll work. And then I did the course, obviously analyzed the suburbs, and then actually bought a property waiting for settlement in 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm glad you did, because yeah, you did get a good property. In the end, it wasn't something that you got overnight. And I don't want anyone to think that, just because you do a course, it's like a magic silver bullet or a magic pill that all of a sudden, everything lines up and you get an awesome property next week. It doesn't happen like that. So you had to be fairly patient, I think. And I remember getting, lots of messages saying, oh, what about this property? What about that property? And sort of just helping you through the process. So it is a process. Property investing is not an event. It is a process. It takes not necessarily work time, but elapsed time. Definitely. It takes weeks, if not, a couple of months. So yeah, fast forward to right now. You've built your understanding of how to create the strategy, the suburbs, within the suburbs, the right properties, negotiating. Tell us about the deal that you actually got, because I think I should know this, but I'm getting a mind blank at the moment. Was this on market or was it off market?
I would say it was pre-market, because it was kind of off market when I put the offer in. It was not in the market. Then after putting the offer in, there was a few negotiation going on, waiting for the right price, adding some more clauses, obviously from the course, all the fine tuning. And while that was happening, I saw it on Domain, and I called it, asking him, is everything okay? I see you listed it on Domain, and he said, yeah, it was off market, but it was pre-market. So they were going to put it in Domain, but obviously because I was dealing with the agent with another property, he told me I have another one coming, which when he said to me it was off market, yes, but I would call it a pre-market property.
Pre-market.
Yeah. So again, to give you a history, I was shortlisted few areas as per the course, and mainly it was South Australia that I was focusing on. Then and Perth. I could see while I was doing the course, it was pretty much South Australia that I was seeing. And then I could see Perth coming from the side, like kind of seeing Perth coming. It was not hitting the threshold that you'd like in the course that you had set, but I think we had a chat and we said Perth is a bit different. And I probably put around 13 offers in different properties, I should say. And yeah, none of them got through, but there was few that one or two I might have told you. I think one I definitely told you, I missed by just a few grand. So there was few moments where you go, you've done all the work, and because it's a fair bit of work to obviously do all the analysis and make sure you're getting the right one. And when you lose it for a small amount, you sometimes get pushed to he said, my wife actually said to me, why don't you just offer more? I said, you can't. The market value is this much. You should do the course. You didn't do the course with me. So yeah, there was all of that. But I think sticking on to the data was critical. And even I would say the main points of trying to get an off market and dealing with the agents. I actually had an agent who I initially put an offer with. I actually used to text him with the property address that I would find or from another agent. He would happily look for me information on the property, like is there state housing nearby or things like that. He would look for me. So that was just because of the relationship and the good chat we had. He was happy to help like that. And this one, as I said, I was looking for another property, and the agent said, "That's gone now. I have another one coming. Do you want to have a look? It's off market." And there was a fair bit of negotiation happening, and it was not hitting the threshold quite. But I think I waited, and wherever we're looking at the data, you could see it was coming. And that actually supported me as well. That it is going in the right direction. So, and we made the decision to go ahead. About the property, it was the offer was accepted at 325. The evaluation came around 345, and it's rented at 380 with tenants living there now. And the rental market, as you know, is pretty tight now. So they want to move out actually, but the tenants in it themselves were saying it's pretty hard to find a property, so they might as well stay. But that's a bit of a history on the journey of this property.
Thank you for sharing, and it's really good to know, because you've worked fairly diligently to get this one, but I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's paid off definitely, right? So you got something that was not technically off market, but pre-market. If you had just seen it on Domain or real estate, there is no way you would have got it that sort of 20K under market value with that sort of instant equity. It's positive cash flow, and the best thing is, whilst the data wasn't quite perfect, it wasn't quite hitting all of our thresholds, we could definitely see that the trend was in the right direction. And when we say data, of course, we don't just mean vacancy rates and historical growth and yields and things. The underlying factors were saying that, look, this is the bottom of the market. In 2 or 3 months' time, this suburb is really going to start accelerating in its price growth. So we took a little bit of I think, based on some measured conversations, a little bit of a, not risk, but a little bit ahead of the curve, you could say, on that specific suburb. But I think if you're getting it at that sort of yield, well above, I think that's about 5.5% yield or something around that. Positive cash flow, under market value, pre-market in a high growth area, then once again, those four things really mean that it's a good property, and that's really what we want to see, at least 3 or 4 of those things in a property. So that was really good to hear when you finally got that, because I know you're in a bit of a time crunch with some things happening in your personal life, some exciting things.
That's right.
So look, maybe just to wrap it up, maybe if I could be cheeky and ask the question, like, initially, as you mentioned, Sree, you had that conversation with me and you weren't quite convinced, you wanted to see more results, some more information, some more, conviction that the Property Investment Accelerator was actually the right thing for you. So what would you say to people who are sort of in your similar boat, not quite convinced, not quite sure, seem to like the content that we produce, but it's a lot of money. I won't lie, it's not $100 course or $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 course. It's expensive. So like, honestly, and with authenticity, what would be your advice to someone who knows that they're just going round in circles, doesn't have the right strategy, and they want to buy interstate, or at least in a way that they don't have to spend their weekends at inspections? What would you say to them if they're considering working with with me?
Yeah, very, very good question. Sorry. Let me just put the computer on charge. Sorry.
That's okay.
So I would start off by explaining. It all goes back to the same question: what do you want to do? So, if you don't have much time up your sleeve, I would say I will start off being negative. Don't do the course if you don't have 1 hour to spare, because it takes. It's not a instant noodle kind of scenario. You can't just do the course and get a property. That's for sure. Because I myself, being in Perth, trying to get a property over East with my work timings and stuff, I struggled a bit, to be frank, because by the time I finished work, it was 4 o'clock in Perth. Everyone is having dinner over in East. You can't really talk to a real estate agent. But again, depending on your personal criteria, you might be able to. And again, if you're over East and buying in Perth, might not be that such a problem. But not just that, going into the buyer's agent and other options that's out there, depending on what you want to do. I personally wanted to know the inside out rather than just hand over the cash to someone and believe in that. And to me, it felt like the right choice, because you are getting, you start off with a strategy, like you say, which initially I thought, what's in a strategy? You just buy a property, it should have good cash flow, and you're done. You're safe. You don't have to pay any mortgage on the house. That's the best decision ever. I did not even think about capital growth as such a scenario, but all that factors that make you a strategy, and having a team with a mortgage broker and conveyancer and right contacts, that makes a big difference. The convincing facts are, I did a course, I did week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Was I convinced? I did the course, it was pretty good. It was overwhelming for me. It was university level. I actually messaged PK a couple of times. But it doesn't matter if I say that until I have made a result. So that was done. And after that, after having this conversation with the agents, I'll tell you this. I've spoke to an agent named Jith. I won't mention the suburb. In the suburb I bought, just a half an hour conversation. And she called me back a day later saying there's a property. But by the time I had put an offer for this one, and she started talking about this. She said, this property is off market. It might come on the market for 300 for investors. For a first home buyer, it might go up to 340. And I went, what? That was she was standing in my shoes and saying, you could get it for 300, but depending on the scenario of the seller, obviously. She didn't say what the price was, but what I meant was all those things I wouldn't have known before unless you see the fine details with negotiation and dealing with agents. There's all I think the heart of the course is in week 2, where you deal and pick, like PK say, the suburb does the heavy lifting. So even fine tuning the 15,000 suburbs and getting 3, 4, 5 suburbs to in your hands, and finally work with that. So pretty much I would say, if you're on the line, I was on the line myself, but I made the right decision. I believe I would recommend you to do it as well. Again, I would give a warning. You need to spend some time. It's not a half an hour thing every day. You need to spend some time. Yeah, you need to. And I believe in this current market, I don't know how it was before, there will be setbacks initially to get the property. And it's very hard. And persistence, like PK says, is the key. Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think, there's 3 options that anyone has in property investing, regardless of they're starting out or they're already investors. The first option is free of cost, do it yourself, comes with risk, comes with trial and error, comes with all of that. Second option is buyer's agent. And like Sree said, if you don't have any time, like if you have a 9-to-5 job, 3 kids, you can't even spare any time, then the Property Investment Accelerator, very honestly, is not for you. But if you can spare some time, if you have, a bit of time to set aside every day, we're not talking a part-time job, but, just being, after initially doing the course for about 3 or 4 hours a week, then you can monitor the markets, and, not necessarily that you need to spend 3 hours a day but just monitor, just be in touch with the market, be in touch with the agents on a daily or semi-daily basis. We're not talking huge hours here. Then you can really get a result, something that you're confident about. And like Sree said, you're not just gambling, you actually know the reasons why this strategy is what it is, why this suburb will perform well, how to get this thing under market value, how to get it off market. And in a hot market, it's hard for everyone, right? It is a lie to say that in a hot market, it's easy to find a good property and be successful in buying it. That's an absolute lie. In a hot market, it's hard for everyone, but the whole point is to persist and to be patient. This is a 15, 20, 30-year decision, so it's well worth the effort. So yeah, once again, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for everything.
Persistence and patience. I didn't do anything, it was all you. So I just wanted to say well done. And obviously the family's expanding and everything, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you do next in the property space. Sure,
we'll be in touch. And yeah, personally, it's a big year for me, moving house and having a second kid. And this was one thing I wanted to do for the year before I move out. And I believe, I'm not believing I've done it now. It's just waiting for settlement. But yeah, hoping to work with you in the near future. Perfect. Okay, everyone. So hopefully that was really useful. Once again, thank you to Sree for making time. He's very, very busy at the moment. So if you did get value out of this, like I said, share this video, subscribe, comment, give a like or a love. Let us know what your thoughts and feedback is. And I'll leave a comment, I'll leave a link rather in the comments below as well, where you can reach out and see if this is for you. What I do is not for everyone. But it is for some people. And then if you need hand holding, if you want to buy a high performing property and really learn how to do that yourself, then I'd be very happy to help you if you're a good fit. So I'll leave the comment below. And once again, thanks for watching.